Got it. See, now we're cooking.
See how easy?
Exactly.
Oh, we're reversed. Oh, no, we're frozen.
That's okay.
I was frozen in time there for a second. Yeah. You got your flute handy? Feel free.
Okay. We're listening to Steve Rawlins' new record, solo piano. We're just going to listen for a while. Love the cover. Beautiful. Okay. Here's my guest, Steve Rawlins, one of the few guests that I've had live in here. I think I've had, I don't know, 3 other people maybe in the whole 3 years that
Because
I've
you're
been
so
doing
far
it.
away from everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Brazil, I can, that's okay if you're from Brazil. So, sorry, we're not on YouTube today because the tech gods told us that we couldn't get on YouTube, but we will post it on YouTube.
Well, thank you for having me, Cathy, and inviting me. It's great to see you again.
You're welcome. It's really fun to have you here. And I don't know if I told you this, but I have a chronic cough, so don't worry. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not sick. Maybe that's why people don't come over.
Well,
They hear me coughing all the time.
what could go wrong? I'm sure everything's fine.
What could go wrong? That's very positive. So Steve is a pianist and arranger and a composer who's been in LA for a long time. We're going to find out how long, and he's very admired and utilized musician for a lot of people here. And you just came out. Let's just start with a new record.
Sure.
You just came out with this new record, a solo piano.
Well, it's actually not even officially released yet. You're the second person that has a actual copy. They just came in. Were delivered by UPS last Friday.
By the way, just the cover itself is very nice. It's very classy, and I love the coloring. Look at the coloring; isn't that beautiful? Very nice. And this is mostly like 90% your songs.
Correct. Either I wrote by myself or co-wrote with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's brand new material, and some of it are songs that I wrote with various people and we never recorded them.
Oh.
Or there's one thing I did with Grant Geisman we recorded 20 something years ago, and I re-recorded it. So there's a little bit of everything.
One song is written with Steve March Torme, and we're going to see some music with him. And one song with Mark Winkler and Mary Bogue.
Thank you, Mary, for suggesting that I come to you here. So thank you, Mary.
Yeah. Dan Welton, Barbara Claiborne. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Let's see. I should message Mary. Does she know you're on today?
I think so.
I'll just message her anyway, just for the heck of it. Because, I have to be doing a million things at once. Mark Winkler and Mary Bogue. Let's see if we can. Mary Bogue. Good. Rollins is on today. There you go.
So there.
Welcome to my world.
And thank you for Pierre, the album you did with Pierre. I'm anxious to hear it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find out all about that.
Yeah, it's good. It's very, very nice. He's just such a natural, good jazz singer.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in way too long. So
Yeah. He also put a few poems in
Really?
there too. Yeah, he's a really good poet.
fantastic.
Yeah. So you've made a number of recordings, right?
Well, I've worked with a lot of people on their recordings. I haven't done my own album per se since the 80s.
Oh,
and that was
okay.
one of the reasons behind deciding just to do this. And it's just me walking in, I'm just playing a Steinway grand piano and just kept it simple and tried playing some melodies and some pretty solos and that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to push a little
Sure.
on this question, but so why now? What was your feeling on making a solo record now?
I was sitting at the piano and 2 or 3 pieces just kind of came to me and I wrote them down and I played them for a few people and they said, you should just suggest it. And I said to myself, that would be an easy album to make. It's not going to be super expensive or complicated. I don't pay for cartage. It's just like me. And it would be nice to archive some music that from the past, because there's some songs that I wrote years ago with various people and we just never recorded them.
Yeah.
And it's just, when you've created something you like and you never get it out into the world, it's frustrating. So I said, that's a way of doing that plus the new material. And that was the motive behind it.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that was a good answer.
Well,
I know that's the answer, but it was a good answer. Okay, next question.
Sure.
Are you from here?
I was born in Long Island in Mineola, lived in Wantagh, suburbs out in New York.
Yeah.
Till I was 5. My dad was an aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
Took a job at Martin Marietta in Colorado during the Gemini project. And when Gemini was over in 1965, moved to Los Angeles, and I've been here since the 6th grade.
Oh.
And the first musician friend I made in the 6th grade was Carol Robbins, who you probably know.
Really? Wow.
And Carol's husband, Buddy, is the engineer of my album.
Oh, how nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. Wow. Yeah.
So I've been here since, I figured you probably did. Yeah. I've been here since the 6th grade. For some reason, you and I have seen each other sporadically through the years, but not enough.
Okay, 6th grade. So were you playing piano as a child?
Playing piano and trumpet. Trumpet was my main instrument for many years, while I was still playing piano and writing arrangements and composing.
Yeah.
By the mid-'80s,
so
many things were going synthesizer and all the trumpet players. In the 70s, everyone had to get piccolo trumpets, which I did because they were on some hit records. Yeah. But by the 80s, everyone was getting the EVIs and the EWIs to try and be like synthesizers. And I almost did, but I decided no. And by the mid 80s, there was less and less work for trumpet players that just, and I was fortunately so busy. The trumpet's actually fairly demanding. You have to practice it and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was so busy writing, some days I wouldn't even have time to play. Oh. So it made sense to sell the horns. I
Yeah.
wasn't going to kind of play the trumpet.
Yeah.
So either you play it or you don't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we're looking at each
embouchure.
other, but I don't know how. Maybe
Well, for me,
it just dawned on me. It's nice to look at, you know. But
I know it's
should
not,
we be looking at the screen?
Well, you're seeing mostly, like when I look like this, I can't see what's going on.
Okay, so we'll do this.
So we'll kind of share.
All right.
Yeah, because if you move forward, then you'll be out of the picture, and
That's no good.
yeah. So we'll kind of go back and forth.
Okay.
So because since you're sitting here, I really do want to look at what does this look. Can they see anything when I'm doing this?
Sure. Or it'll be a fascinating video. They'll just see our profiles. Okay.
They'll probably see more of your face than mine. So okay, so that's interesting. I didn't know you were a trumpet player or had been a trumpet player.
I had been. So
yeah.
I miss the camaraderie of the trumpet section. There's a certain hang,
I
and there's
know
a certain
that, yeah.
Oh, definitely. You know,
Yeah.
with any group of instruments, and you know,
Yeah.
especially you know, if you're in a choir or something, there's something physiological about breathing together and sharing something in common, and just the experience. So I do miss that. So I tend to gravitate to trumpet players still and trumpet sections.
I understand because you see my flute here.
Uh-huh.
So I played flute from when I was young. I actually wanted to play a violin, but my mother said I had the perfect lips for flute. So
we'll leave it at that. Okay.
There you go. So anyway, so I played the flute. My dad was a sax player.
Sure.
And so I think I played guitar too when I was young, and but that was not as interesting to me. And then so I played flute, and I went to Berkeley for flute.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because they didn't have voice at the time.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So and then I was beginning to become a flute player, and then I left Berkeley, and I just decided I'm just gonna sing.
Without doubling on the saxes and the clarinet and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Just
or
solo
even solo. I mean,
Right.
even the flute. So when I got here, I just concentrated on singing, and while I still have an embouchure,
Yeah.
and I've taken a few lessons during the pandemic.
Okay.
You have to practice.
Oh yeah, there's a whole thing to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was taking I took a lesson from Laurie Bell.
Uh-huh.
And that was a great lesson. And sorry, Laurie, I'm not,
Practice.
I'm not practicing, but but yeah, I mean, I think it would be really nice to actually be able to be in an orchestra, even if I wasn't in, if I was in a beginning orchestra, it would probably be enough for me.
Just for the sake of doing it. And
well, like you said, the camaraderie of being
I
in
do
an
miss that.
orchestra.
But since I'm still playing, I'm still a working musician all the time. But there's still, I do miss that part. You never forget the fingerings, do you?
No, not really.
I never.
Yeah.
I never will. No matter how many years it's been.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. You were much more.
Well, there's only
along than
3.
I am.
There was only 3. It was it was easier.
Okay, Mary Bug loves you.
Hi, Mary.
It's almost all her comments.
Oh.
Steve is a marvelous producer, arranger, pianist, writer, and musical director. And now you have a legacy for your grandkids.
Yeah,
And
well,
Dolores is here too. She said,
Dolores.
sending love. And ask him about all his books he's written. That's the other thing. As I was looking at your bio, I didn't actually realize that you're an author.
Well, when I got my first computer 30-something years ago, I had the idea of writing a book about approaching a song as an arranger when you either get sheet music or a lead sheet.
Yeah.
And I put together a book and went around shopping it and wound up making a deal with a man named John Haig, who had a company called with Creative Concepts.
Yeah.
And he published my book. And then he was I started a second book about bebop singing, and it was based similar on Oliver Nelson's book, Patterns for Saxophone.
Yeah.
Only it was which is a fantastic book, but you almost have to be a saxophone player to play it because the range jumps around.
Yeah.
So I did something that would be for all instrumentalists and singers
I have
in all
one of your
12 keys.
books.
It
Yeah.
might be that one. It's a
Yeah.
bebop warm-up kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I haven't looked at it for
Well,
a
it's
long
been
time.
about 20 years. So
Yeah.
he wound up selling his catalog to Hal Leonard.
Oh, good idea.
And then he
Yeah.
was a consultant and asked me to do a few other things, which I did. But people have changed, and I haven't written any books lately,
Yeah,
but I have a number of things that have been published.
right. And just trying to think, was that the book, or what, was there also a book of charts that,
And
right?
that was when he became a consultant.
Yeah,
He asked me if I had any ideas,
yeah,
and I suggested doing something, writing charts for singers,
Yeah.
where I would clean up the
Yeah.
basic chords,
Yeah.
and similar to, you've probably seen the Dick Hyman books, All the Right Changes,
yeah,
where he kind of suggests traditional alternate harmony.
yeah,
I put alternate chords above. Some were traditional alternate
Yeah.
harmonies, and others were just creative things I kind of thought up myself.
yeah.
And so there was 50 songs for men and 50 songs for women that were published.
Yeah.
And you might have any of those.
Now
Hopefully
I have to go look in my book section. I have,
Mhm.
unfortunately, I don't look in my book section a lot because there's just so many other things to do.
I understand. Things.
But I always think I'm going to, and that's
Well-
why I don't throw them away, because they're dear to me. Could you
Very
move
nice.
up slightly?
Sure, I'm trying to figure out the best way to.
No, yeah, just like forward. Yeah, that would be good. Then I don't have to quite. Yeah.
Let me put that in the
This
coffee
feels
cup.
right here.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
want to stain anything. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, that's very nice of you to make comments about not staining my furniture. If you guys saw my furniture, you'd understand why I say that.
You don't have a coaster?
No.
Okay.
Not for this furniture.
Alright.
So, yeah, so that's really cool. May I ask, was that a fruitful endeavor for you as far as
Yes,
Yes.
it wasn't. The first two books I wrote
Yeah.
were original ideas that I copywrote the material,
oh,
and they gave me a certain percentage of sales.
yeah, yeah,
And through the years, I sold various numbers of copies.
yeah,
The Bebop book is still available. Sadly, my arranging one, which is the one I'm most enthusiastic about, was discontinued about a year ago. I
Oh.
understand, but there's still copies on
Through Hal
Amazon.
Leonard?
Yeah,
yeah,
I think there's still copies available. Maybe
Yeah.
Stephanie even still has some at Hollywood Sheet Music, and
oh, yeah,
so there's still some out there.
yeah,
But 30 years later, I guess
yeah.
things could happen.
And so just tell me again about the bebop one, because I'm curious about that one.
Well, I did 21 different exercises that feature different points about phrasing jazz,
Yeah,
and I would do it in all 12 keys.
yeah.
So, and it started out simple, and it came with a CD that I did all originally
This is
MIDI
for
stuff.
all instruments,
Whether you're a
not
singer,
just saxes, for instance.
If it was for vocalists
Yeah.
and instrumentalists,
Yeah.
and I would put the chord changes, and for example, I can't sing it all, and I'm just about to prove it. But example one would be like da ba doo ba da ba doo ba doo ba da doo ba doo be ba ba da, and went on to sharp 9, then up a half step, and it would give you a bell tone.
Okay,
And if you played a B flat instrument, instead of starting in the key of C,
Yeah.
you'd start in the key of D.
Yeah.
You'd read it
Yeah.
in the key of D,
yeah,
or vice versa, no matter which transposition you needed. And you would go through all 12 keys, and it'd be a good way of getting the fingers and and it would help people get eighth note phrasing to be able to swing. And then I got a little more
I think
as the
that's
book went on. It
great.
got a little more. There was a little Clifford Brown stuff, a little Freddie Hubbard stuff, and
Yeah.
just got a little deeper as it went along.
I'm going to write this down for people because that one particularly I think is,
I think it would be valuable.
Yeah.
I originally was going to call it the Bebop warm up,
yeah,
and Hal Leonard said, "Why don't you write one more? Make it 21.
really?
Make it 21 exercises, and we'll call it 21 Bebop exercises or something."
is it? Is
So I
that,
believe that's the title.
so it's 21 exercises, right?
I think it's called 21 Bebop exercises. It's been a while since I've seen the title of my own book.
Bebop
But if you look for my name and that, if you put 21 Bebop, it'll show up.
exercises, exercises by Steve. I think that's great because that's the kind of thing. Like, for instance, are you familiar with Judy Niemak or her book?
Yes.
So that book I've recommended a lot over the years.
Mhm.
Not the blues one, the jazz one. I mean, the blues one's cool too, but I mean, I just think the jazz one is so cool, and it's user friendly.
Right.
So singers can just like and it really changes your ear, you know. So it's
Well,
great.
it's been rewarding because I've had people from around the world.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will even post them doing some of the exercises
Oh,
or something
really?
and send it to me or something.
Cool.
You know, and so
Yeah.
you make a difference. It's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to get to do that.
Yeah. So I want to show the or play the the project with Steve March Torme. But
Okay.
let's talk about how that all came to fruition. It seems like you've known him for a long time, or
Almost 30, close to 30 years, not quite.
maybe
It's
done a
like
lot of work
27.
together.
A couple different people tried putting us together, and he had been working with other people at the time. So, but gradually we eventually met,
Yeah.
and he was about to do a big band album,
Oh,
and asked me to be involved and write most of the arrangements.
oh, cool.
And one of which was he had been in the studio with his dad a few years prior to that,
Yeah.
and had done a duet version of this Nat Cole song "Straighten Up and Fly Right"
Yeah.
with kind of a hip hop groove, which was cool.
Oh,
But they weren't going to. He was thinking about releasing it, but he didn't. He wanted to make it a big band version.
yeah.
And fortunately, this is before Pro Tools. We were still on 24-track tape.
Yeah.
But he had a click track, and he had his dad's voice. His dad at that point was still alive but ill
Oh,
and wasn't able to sing anymore.
yeah.
But we had his recorded voice, and I wrote a big band chart around it,
Yeah.
and be a fun thing to listen to if you.
Yeah. And you know, I have to say I didn't hear this. So, not that you know, that's
Well, hope you like it.
me too, but I'm sure I will. Let's see.
She's pushing buttons here. Okay,
Yeah, let's see. Is this it? No.
No.
This is it?
No.
Nope. This is it.
that's it.
Okay. Make it bigger. Even
Okay.
though we're not seeing a video, but still,
It's
it's
just-
okay.
A buzzer took a monkey for a ride in the air. The monkey thought that everything was on the square.
The buzzer tried to throw the monkey off of his back, but the monkey grabbed his neck and said, "Now listen, Jack.
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in diving. What's the use in jiving? Straighten up and fly right.
Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top."
The buzzer told the monkey, "You were choking me. Release your hold and I will set you free."
The monkey looked the buzzer right dead in the eye and said, "Your story's touching, but it sounds like a lie."
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top.
Ba-dum, beep-a-doo-doo-doo-doo, shabba-doo-ba-dee-doo-doo.
Oh, the buzzers on the monkey, you were choking me. Release your hold and I might set you
The
free.
monkey looked the buzzer right down in the eye and said, "Your story's touching, but it sounds like a lie."
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in diving. What's the use in jiving? Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Shabba-doo-doo-doo-doo,
No, more like this.
I got it now.
Some scatting.
Wow, that's cool. So, okay, I have some questions about that.
Sure.
Okay, which came first, the chicken or the egg? So, so
Yes.
did you write the arrangement first, or did you
I
listen
used
to
to-
Mel, or
What I used the exact same tempo and the exact same basic roadmap that they had recorded. That originally had kind of a hip hop beat with synthesizers.
the two of them?
The two of them.
Oh,
So they had worked out with John Gilliton.
so Mel was singing to a hip hop track.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
But it still kind of swung to
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
kind of a hip hop shuffle.
Yeah.
So they had
So
recorded
you
to
wrote
that
you wrote to that track.
to that track.
Were you listening to them singing as well?
Of course.
Yeah, your arrangement was wonderful.
Thank you.
I
It was
mean,
kind of a fun
yeah.
thing to do because I had to
Yeah,
make it all work, and then I used a lot of different harmonies around
Yeah.
it and put the horns in doing different things,
yeah,
and yet made it work with what they had done.
yeah. I mean, it kind of brings to mind that famous Jobim record, you know, with the let's see, with Claus Ogerman.
Yeah.
You know, sorry, it was with not Jobim, it was with guitar singer married to the singer who sang "Girl from Ipanema." Um,
Ostred and then.
yeah, Gilberto.
Oh yeah.
So Joao Gilberto. So
Right.
anyway, it's one of the famous Claus Ogerman records
Okay.
with Joao, and
So
that
was
was
this guitar and
written-
voice first or something?
yeah, and that was like, or let's see, was it with his voice? I think, let's see, can't remember. There was something, it was not done. It might have been before he even put down his phrasing, Joao, was
Right.
ridiculously behind, I mean, in a good
sure.
way.
Oh, okay.
but like
Really laid back.
crazy, yeah. And because Joe Carrero was the drummer on that, and he talked about that with me once.
Okay.
But anyway, it's kind of fascinating to know how an arranger would arrange that. It's also, being a singer, it's interesting to hear the two singers. And even though Steve is a great singer,
Mhm.
I mean, Mel has this built-in, you know, there's something about a real swing bebop singer
Yeah.
of the timing, you know, it's
Mhm.
like it just kind of sits in a glove, right? And so it's interesting too to hear how the arrangement actually favors and works with each singer, you know. I mean, it works everywhere, but there's these subtleties, you know, in my ears.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Pretty
Oh.
fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad to play it for you.
How long did it take to complete that?
Well, once I had the original
Yeah.
arrangement, it was not all that difficult.
Yeah.
You know, once I, in fact, I had the whole thing kind of laid out,
Yeah.
and with the key change, and there's a 2/4 bar and all that, so I knew exactly what I was writing.
Yeah.
I just kind of took that and then made it work, tried to make it work
Yeah,
the best I
so-
could.
About 3 hours.
I don't know.
I'm kidding.
Copying takes long. Yeah.
Right. There's the arrangement, and then there's copying.
Well, except I'm doing it all in finale and extracting the parts, and I've gotten much better.
Would you say being a trumpet player also helps your writing?
Well, I think so. Yeah. Well, trying to have an understanding of all the instruments.
Yeah.
But especially writing for trumpet, I know there's times where I'll write alternate fingerings and do certain things just because
Yeah.
I know it,
Yeah.
which I don't know as well on other instruments.
Right.
Have some sense.
Yeah. You know, Bob McChesney, right?
Sure.
And he's been writing for their projects, you know, string arrangements, which are really quite beautiful.
Sure.
And he did not study that at all. He totally self-taught.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course, Calabria is a violinist, so he has
Has a
that
little
extra.
built-in help there.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I thought that was very impressive as well. Did you go to school for?
I was very fortunate. I started writing arrangements in junior high school.
Yeah.
My high school teacher was a man named John Magruder. I don't know if
Oh,
you.
yeah.
John played baritone sax with the Don Ellis Big Band, and I
Yeah.
was writing charts in high school.
Yeah.
And I went to Northridge for one semester, the University of Northridge, but I wasn't real anxious to stay there. I was kind of anxious to get on my own.
Yeah.
But while I was walking through the halls, Sammy Nestico had just moved to Los Angeles and was teaching a band at Pierce College and was looking for people to play in his band.
Oh.
So I went and worked with played in Sammy's band for the next 2 years.
Oh.
And he would stay after the band and explain what he was writing, and I would show charts. And
Oh.
so Sammy and I got to be very close. And so I
Wow.
learned a lot in many ways about writing and the business from Sammy.
That's an amazing
I
story.
was just very fortunate. He was only there for
Yeah.
the 2 years, and he moved out. He was director of the Airmen of Note in Washington.
Yeah.
And apparently Billy May and Billy Byers and Pat Williams
Yeah.
encouraged him to come out because there was so much ghostwriting they wanted him to work on,
Oh.
which is why he moved to LA originally.
Oh. Yeah. That's all. That is very impressive. I mean, it's, you really got schooling from the best.
I was very grateful and fortunate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I have a young man who comes on here a lot, Taylor Hatch. He's a guitarist. He goes to UNT, but he asks all kinds of deep questions. And Taylor, you're not on right now, but here's a question you would pose.
Okay, Taylor.
So, the question is are there, especially from what we were just talking about, were there any kind of lessons from these people that you got that really changed your headspace and really made you go, oh, and which you kind of changed who you were, writing or?
Well, there were some things about the actual art of writing.
Yeah.
Sammy was excellent, as most people will be able to tell you, of writing things that sound very musical and writing them in a way that was clear, notation-wise, to understand how to play it. Because it might not look all that difficult, but it sounded involved. There are things you can do in notation of music. If the note's on the beat, write it as a quarter note, unless it's for a string player, then you have to write it as an eighth note. But if it's on the beat, always write a quarter note with a dot on it if you want it short.
Yeah.
So it's easy to read. If you're swinging along, every once in a while I'll be in a big band somewhere, and someone will have a 6/4 bar, and 6/4 there's nothing wrong with putting a 6/4 bar, but there's nothing will have a train wreck more than putting a 6/4 bar, because if you wrote a 4/4 bar and a bar of 2/4, there wouldn't be any problem at all. But when you get to the 6/4, people are a little confused by it. So just all kinds of different notation things.
Yeah.
But one thing Sammy did tell me, that I guess for the sake of headspace or whatever,
Yeah.
he said, when his name's on it, arranged by or composed and arranged by Sammy, and this is name there, says when you put your name there, you want to be proud of what's there. And I mean, I guess I always knew it, but I was a 19-year-old kid, and that's kind of always stuck with me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I try, and my name's on the top of the arrangement. I try and do the best I can,
Yeah.
and be as proud as I can be with it.
Yeah. Cool.
Since you asked.
Okay. So,
Okay, that's a
Taylor,
heavy.
he would ask much more. I like very deep questions where you have to stop and think. It's like not just conversation. Anyway, maybe he'll show up and he'll ask.
Taylor.
Judy Barrett's here,
Hey, Judy.
but she might have to run. She said she's looking forward to hear the rerun. And Dan DeVille. And and Mary Bogue says that your exercise book also has exercises on it, which is a great way to warm up. Dan, do you know Dan DeVille?
I don't know.
You might know him from just seeing him
Okay.
in the audience, but he's a supporter, music
Oh,
supporter.
wonderful. I probably would recognize. Sorry, Dan, if I don't.
He won't take offense. But anyway, he always shares with me the allmusic.com.
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing
I should
that
probably
you
put my
have not.
glasses on.
Yeah, I'm
What's
guessing,
going on over there?
I'm guessing that you, because of your technology
Hmm?
perspective,
Yes.
you did not do this. You did not add your All Music credits.
No.
Okay, so All Music is this location that it's cool.
I think I've looked at it before. I
Yeah.
mean, of other people, so I should look at myself.
Well,
yeah.
it's pretty cool. Oh, you've done a lot of Lynn Stanley.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. She used to be my student.
Okay.
Anyway, so sometimes they get this wrong, and you actually can go on All Music and change it or
Update
add
things
or
that there's
whatever.
Probably things I should add.
But for
Okay.
instance,
Yes.
let's start. Well, we'll start from the later editions, which is
Okay.
2017. So you do have to add
Oh, I
some
have
stuff.
to update all kinds of stuff.
So there's two albums with Lynn Stanley.
Hmm.
Finger Snaps. Ah, you did Finger Snaps.
Well, I arranged and produced and did other things too. But I'll
Yeah,
take credit where
but
I can get it. You
It
know.
does list Finger Snaps. So see, Finger
Uh-huh,
Snaps right
well.
there. What is this? I don't know.
This could be a whole new thing.
Right. Okay. So, well, shoot. Chase Freedom. No,
Oh.
I don't want that.
Maybe you do.
Okay. So here we go. So Lynn Stanley, 3 actually, session coordinator and arranger, vocal producer. Then Steve March Torme, Daniel Benzali.
He's an actor. He's been on a lot of shows. My friend Dana Bronson brought me into a project with him. And
Why do I know Dana Bronson's
he's a
name?
piano player that's been around, and then you probably met him somewhere along the line.
Yeah, Dana Bronson
Mm-hmm.
sounds so familiar. Steve again on The Essence of Love. So that was another record that you were on with
Mm-hmm.
him. George Bugatti,
He's a singer that used to be in LA. Now he's in Las Vegas and done various shows.
Bob Kaufman.
I went to school with, you might know his brother, Richard Kaufman, who's a well-known conductor
Ah,
of the
okay.
Pops.
The Dance Society,
Did I do that?
DANSE.
I don't even know what that is.
See, now
I
that
must have been there,
It says
though.
composer.
Well,
Seduction, the Society Collection.
I might have done that.
Well,
Apparently I did.
We'll just take a quick look at
I have
what
no
that
idea.
is.
Did I
That
do this?
is, well, this couldn't, well, yeah, maybe this is not it. Because it looks kind of like a rock.
Doesn't look quite like me. but
Right.
Sometimes I co-write with someone and something shows up
Oh.
somewhere. So I don't know.
Ella Leia. Oh.
She's a pop singer that
Now
I
you wouldn't
worked
have
with
played
once.
Celeste in harpsichord, right?
Well, it was probably I actually might have.
Oh,
You know, I
really?
mean, they're keyboard.
Yeah. Okay.
So she might have had it in her studio.
See that? Oh, several more with Steve March.
I've done quite a
Torme,
few with
too.
them through the years.
Okay. The Avatar Brass Quintet. You didn't play trombone on it.
I did not. That is
No.
a mistake. I've never
Okay.
played the trombone, to
More-
my knowledge.
More with George Bugatti,
Uh-huh.
Danny Welton,
It's a harmonica player. up
string
in,
arrangements.
I did.
Oh, nice. Grant Geisman,
Uh-huh.
composer. Bruce Eskovitz. It says you played trumpet.
I did back then.
Oh, cool.
Well, yeah, that's before '87,
It's
correct?
92.
Oh,
well,
he
it
must have
came
released
out.
it. He must have
Yeah.
re-released it or something.
Another Grant Geisman one. A
Uh-huh.
Steve Rollins one, Step Right Up. Mary Bogue.
Okay.
Winston Bird.
Trumpet player in town.
Lorena
Okay.
Morrow.
Oh, there's something that just came out yesterday. We did some singles that she released alone
Oh.
together.
Oh, cool.
And that's on YouTube.
Great. And
And it's
another.
got Ricky and Jennifer, Ricky Woodard and Jennifer and Lightham and Kevin Winard playing.
Nice.
So if you were to go to YouTube right now, you could play something that was released yesterday.
And that was under Lorena's name?
Uh-huh.
Lorena.
Morrow. Alone Together.
You also did Patricia Thompson. Now that I'm thinking
Working
of
on a
it.
new album with her as well.
Yeah, and you produced the whole record, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Similar to this, I produced, arranged, and played piano, and
So it's this one, right?
right. So she's released a single.
She was at the gala last night. She was at the table next to me.
Okay. Were you all pretty rowdy?
Oh yeah, very.
Alone together beyond the crowd, above the world. We're not too proud to cling together. We're strong as long as we're together. Alone together, the blinding rain, the starless night. We're not in vain, but we're together.
Be right back.
And what is there to fear together? Our love is as deep as the sea. Our love is as great as a love can be, and we can weather the great unknown if we're alone together.
You're fast.
Ricky is so distinctive, you know.
Pardon?
Ricky is so distinctive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who's on drums?
Pardon?
Who's on drums?
Kevin Winard,
And bass?
Jennifer Lydham.
Cool.
Alone together beyond the crowd, above the world. We're not too proud to cling together. We're strong as long as we together. Alone together, the blinding rain, the starless night. We're not in vain, but we're together. And what is there to fear together? Our love is as deep as the sea. Yes, our love is as great.
I always liked this song.
Yeah, me too.
There's something about the Schwartz and Deeds, you know.
I know, yeah, really good. I'll tell you a little story about that in a second.
If we're alone, if we're alone, if we're alone together.
Nice money note, Lorena. Yeah, that's cool. You know, I really like this song too. And a friend of mine, a guy who I traveled with a lot together. Well,
Right.
we made a record together called Alone Together.
Okay.
And but however, let's see, wait, I need to find this again.
Where are we?
Where are
A lot
we?
of clicking there.
I know, lots of clicking. We're right
That's-
here.
Okay.
Okay. So
I look frozen. Oh, there I am.
yeah, you're here. So Jamie Finley, remember him? Guitar player?
Yes.
Yeah, he used to live here. Anyway, so he went to visit Howard Roberts.
Yeah.
Howard Roberts is the guy who created MI, right?
That I don't know. I'm just familiar with his guitar playing.
Let me just check because
Seems logical.
let me get my information together. Is it Howard Roberts? No, I didn't put that there. Okay, I thought I did. I think it's Howard Roberts who
Okay.
create. Anyway, no, I don't think so. I think it's somebody else who created MI originally. But anyway, on his deathbed, Jamie went. He was a guitar
Yeah.
player. Jamie went to hang out, and he was playing. Maybe it was Howard Roberts.
Okay.
He was playing alone together, and so Howard, whoever it was,
Yeah.
Howard Roberts or whomever. Sorry,
Some
it's a terrible story.
they got most of the facts right.
Took the guitar and he said, "No, it's like this." So what he did was he changed. I'll have to play it for you sometime or share the chart
Yeah.
with you. Like at the end of the sections, he modulated, so it would go alone together, ba-da-da-dee, doo-dee-dee-dee, doo-dee-dee-da, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-doo-dee-doo-dee,
Up a half step?
doo-ba-da. Yeah.
Oh, well,
And it was really cool. It was definitely like a different. I'll share you.
well,
I'll
that's
share
well,
the record with you.
that's a way to modulate.
Yeah,
If you were gonna modulate, that would be a fun way to do it.
and several times in the song.
Okay, well,
And it sounds so natural that if you don't really
know the song that
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, whatever.
Howard Roberts was, if I'm not mistaken, the guitar player on Nelson Riddle's theme with Route 66.
Oh,
Do you do
really?
that? Do you do that?
Yeah.
Do do dee do 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 da.
Oh.
That and I think Conti Condoli played the trumpet solo, and it's just such a classic recording.
Wow. Now I really want to know. I'm just going to ask, kind of like Google it.
Yeah.
Who
MI
created
Musicians Institute.
musicians? It's old enough that it's probably on Google. Howard Roberts.
Okay.
Oh, and Pat Hicks. But it was Howard Roberts that he was.
That he went to visit.
Yeah, but Pat Hicks was the other founder.
Right.
Yeah, 1977.
Not that long ago.
God, it seems like forever, doesn't it? Really does. Anyway, so yeah, so the story wasn't that far off. Oh, thanks, Dan. See, Dan
Good.
is my researcher. He had put that up. And Tiba O'Day Edelman
Hi,
says
Tiba.
hi.
Right. He was wonderful.
Manny
singer.
Valentine is
And Manny.
here. Jackie Gibson.
Jackie. She was at the event last night. She told me
She
she was going to
was.
be.
It was really fun, wasn't it, Jackie? Oh my God, it was great. I don't know if I even have pictures that have translated yet on my computer. If I do, I'll show you a few. But yeah, so last night here in Los Angeles was the JEXA Awards, which it's an awards program started by, yeah, I do.
Okay.
Started by a singer, a doctor and a singer named Jerome Pittman. Last year he started it. I was one of the honorees back last year. We had it at Vitello's, which was a relatively small room. I mean,
In comparison to the Cicada. where we
yeah,
were, yeah.
this last night it was at the Cicada Club, which is a huge room, and they had a big band, and they had dancers and singers and award givers, and
Wow.
Dionne Warwick was there.
Oh,
and
really?
Diane Reeves, and she sang 2 songs.
Wow.
And I'll just show you a few of the pictures just for fun. I won't
right.
show you all my
see 'em all.
very personal pictures, but
Yeah,
like
we can't show those.
yeah, really. So
Okay,
there's
so
the big
big
band,
band, sure.
Diane singing with the
Wow.
big band. That was, they had a few screens up
Mhm.
too. Diane was, of course, very charming because she's a
Mhm.
very organic person. Here's the guy this is Tim, I forget his last name, but he is the guy who's kind of overseeing Barbara Morrison's Performing Arts Center
Oh,
now.
okay.
He always helped her.
Wonderful. Oh,
And,
yeah. I remember
Remember
meeting
him?
Of course.
Yeah, very nice guy. What else? I'm very proud of this.
Yeah.
This is my student,
Uh-huh.
and her name is Daniela Lopez. She's 15,
Wow.
and she won the award, one of the awards for the young
Oh,
students.
fantastic.
Yeah, so I was quite proud
Special
of
night.
her. Yeah,
Sure.
and you must know Gail Larone, right?
Yes. Not well, but I do know her. I
Yeah,
have
this
met
is
her.
kind of
Uh-huh.
anyway, she was the opening act of
Right.
performance. There was also there was Mon David,
Right?
and lots of people that were there. Let's see if I can.
I know several people, friends of mine, mentioned they were going.
Yeah, and they were. This was upstairs, seated, and but downstairs, I don't know if I can. Yeah, here's one downstairs. Yeah, the Cicada Club. It was really quite elegant. You can see
Great.
how elegant and beautiful it is.
What they do up, was it valet parking?
Actually,
Parking is
right-
tricky there? Or did you
valet
push-
parking, which
Okay.
they paid for.
Nice.
Right there is right at that table here is Dionne Warwick and
Right.
Todd Hunter,
Uh-huh.
who's her pianist for the last 20 years. And I think Diane was sitting kind of where you can't see.
Okay.
But anything else?
Hmm.
Oh, here's Gail Laron again.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And Carrie Kelsey, of course.
Jerry.
Always in there. And here's my student's mom and Antonia Bennett, Tony Bennett's daughter.
Sure.
Do you know her?
I know of her. I've
Yeah.
never met.
She's lovely, very nice person. And so yeah, I think that's about it for the fabulous
Well,
shots.
Nice
But-
evening.
I'm sure. Oh well, here's Jody Jarris, who was the
Right.
artistic producer.
Oh, was she?
Yep.
Nice, Jody.
And this funny
Uh-oh.
picture of Linda Smith.
What are you guys doing?
She's eating because that was the first time it's kind of like a wedding.
I see.
she she ate at the end.
Well, sounds like a fun evening.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. Oh gosh, and a Facebook Live on the event. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it was a great time, wasn't it, Jackie? Yeah, cool.
Sit up
So
straight.
now he's checking himself out, man. Come on,
No
man.
slouching. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many, questions we can ask and talk about. And anything you would like to talk about, feel free.
Well, I would like to mention
Yes.
for anyone that is interested,
Uh-huh.
on Wednesday, the 19th of April, I am
Yes.
going to, even though my album is a solo piano album,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have a release party premiere show at Catalina's.
April 19th.
April 19th, I have a wonderful
a
band, a
Wednesday.
bunch of people that
I'm gonna
you'll
write
know
that
and love.
down. Yeah.
My buddy Grant Geisman, who I've been working with for many years on guitar.
Cool.
Got Bob Shepard on saxophone.
Nice.
I've got Ken Wild on bass, Bernie
Dressel.
Dressel on drums, and Luis Conte
Oh, wow. What a great
on percussion.
band.
And
Yeah.
some of my co-writers are going to show up and sing various songs, including Steve March Torme and Mark Winkler. My ex-wife,
Cool.
Isela Sotelo, is going to sing a song because we wrote something together.
Cool.
And my daughter Marissa is going to sing something.
That sounds great.
So it's going to be, and that's going to have a video. Going to make a video for family
Yeah,
purposes to
Yeah.
archive it and have it.
Okay, let's go,
So
everybody.
if anyone's available, would love to see you there.
That sounds great. Yeah. I was going to ask you, as I was listening to you play, I was wondering, have you ever played with Kendall Kay?
Sure, many
Yeah,
times,
That
or a number of
probably-
times anyway. Yeah,
Probably a good blend, right?
wonderful. He's
Yeah.
wonderful to play with.
It's very sensitive
Mhm.
and swings really beautifully.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're so lucky living in Los Angeles. The challenge is once hiring the people I did for my show, there's like 5 or 6 drummers in Los Angeles I work with regularly, and 5 or 6 bass players, and sort of like which one do you call, and then which will the other one say, why didn't you call? I mean, there's a human, and being a leader, there's a little bit. Sometimes my client will suggest who they want to have play, and sometimes, and we have so many people to choose from that are such fantastic players. Don't get to work with everybody often enough.
That's an interesting subject,
And
actually,
It's
as the
kind of a
years
unique,
go on.
unique
Yeah.
situation because
Yeah.
I wish you can't hire like 6 drummers on the same job. Although
Right.
I'm very close with at least that many,
Yeah, yeah,
and same with each instrument.
yeah,
So, and there's a bunch of other guys I've only worked with a couple times, and they're wonderful too.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, first of all, we are super blessed with an abundance of great players. Just amazing. But also there's, which I've talked about over the years, especially with singers, as you have, because you've been a big singer
I work with a lot
supporter.
of singers, yeah.
Yeah. How do you pick the band? How do you not feel bad about
And then the answer,
picking the great play. Yeah,
there
is no
there is
answer.
no answer.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like
everybody
you try and
kinda
balance it
knows,
out, and
too.
everyone knows. It's the same way.
Yeah.
Why certain people call me to do certain things, and why other
Exactly.
people don't. You know, it's just sometimes it's availability, sometimes
Yes.
it's circumstances, and
Yeah.
sometimes they don't want 4 people named Steve in the band. Seriously.
You know, I
I-
once had a band and everybody had, wait, what did I call it? It was Armando and was it the R band? The
Okay.
R band, you know? Yeah, I had a band like that, yeah.
But
Anyway.
I've had people before, if there was one guy named with a certain name before, my client said, well, let's not hire another guy on the same with the same name. It'll be confusing. Just hire, use, instead of, you know, call Irving instead or something, you
That's
know?
funny.
It's part of the fun. Yeah.
But you know, I mean, of course there's style, right? And
Right.
so like frankly, probably most of the reason why I haven't called you over the years is because I tend to do more kind of out
Yeah.
to get out music, you know, and I don't think of you as an
When you
out
mean
player.
You mean
Outside.
more outside as
Yeah,
opposed to
yeah. I don't think of you like that. I think of you as more of an inside player. Would
Well,
you say
we all wear many hats though.
have you done outside music? Like
If-
more avant-garde-ish, that direction?
If I have at least some kind of music in front of me, or know
Yeah.
or know what it is we're going to play,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I,
See, I didn't even
but
know
but
that.
but that's true with everybody. I mean, there's people
Of course.
people get type, they see you in one
Yes.
particular situation or two particular situations, and that's what they think of you as.
And not to change subjects, because I like this subject to
Yes.
talk about. But we were talking about this earlier
Mhm.
of marketing yourself like for one project, like your video, right? That you're making at Catalina's. And we were talking about, well, do I use that, or how do I use that if I wear many different hats musically? And you know what? One time I worried about that a lot over the years because I sing the Great American Songbook, and
Mhm.
then I really like the more outside kind of stuff, right? And I can even go slightly towards pop sounding, right? Because that's just how I grew up, right? So I worried about that, and then I actually talked about it with Peter Sprague, the guitarist, because he had a number of different projects that he was working on. This was
Right.
years ago. He just said, "I don't care." That's what he said.
Well, yeah.
He said, I just put it out, and then the people who like that project, hang out with that.
And that's kind of what I'm
music.
doing, but that is why I've been avoiding doing a website. Although I probably will, you know, I mean, because I'll do music for animation, I'll do music for advertising, I'll do
Yeah,
many different things. And a lot of people know me only as a composer. Other people only know me as a pianist. Some people know me as a musical director.
yeah.
And it's sort of like, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. I get to work pretty much every day and make music
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I haven't been, but I probably, it's like, it's on the list of things to do. And maybe with the new CD, it's another way of promoting the CD.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I'm going to make a suggestion.
okay.
Now, over the years, I have been guilty of putting too much information into my marketing.
And that's the problem. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
I got pulled back from that by various people. Do you know Lisa Steele, the singer?
I don't believe so.
She's a wonderful singer,
Mhm.
and she's also a great web designer. So she designed my website, and the first thing she did was
Yes.
like pull off all this because I just tend to overdo it,
Well,
right?
yeah.
But what I'm going to say is, if you get a really nice web designer,
Mhm.
and then you can actually, without being cluttered,
Yeah.
actually show all the different things. And what it is like they'll do like these short little pieces. Like I could show you something.
I know I could depart.
You know what I'm saying?
I could have different little categories or different windows for
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah,
I've thought about it, and maybe I will. I
you
just,
have to. No,
I'm,
no,
I'm
it's
20 years
not.
behind on.
It's not a maybe, man. Seriously, because you can show and the thing is, people don't have to go down the rabbit hole unless they click on it.
Right.
So they see solo piano, arranger,
Mhm.
performer, producer. They just see those, and then if they want to go down the rabbit hole, they click on it. So it doesn't have to be confusing at all. It's somebody's coming to look for you.
And I know it can and should be done.
Yeah, I'm
And so-
sorry for
That's okay. That's
for,
it's
like, sorry,
that's okay.
in front
I
of
appreciate it.
everybody.
That's all right.
But you know,
Well, I will ask your advice and put it out there as well,
yeah,
pertaining to my new CD, because it's a different kind of CD.
Yeah.
With albums that I've been involved with other people in the past,
yeah,
and my album back in the 80s, the idea was to try and hire someone to promote it to radio stations and get that kind of, this kind of an album is very unlikely to get radio airplay. What it can get,
because it's varied.
well, because it's a solo piano is a solo piano playing melodic things like this.
Yeah.
There really aren't radio stations per se. It's not, I'm not going to send it to a jazz station,
What about a new age?
and it's not really new age,
Yeah.
but there are on Pandora and Spotify particularly, and probably Sirius.
Yes.
I always
yes,
want to call it Sirius, but it's Sirius, right?
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, there are stations that do focus on just
solo
piano.
Mhm.
So that's why I just got the CDs now, but I'm
Yeah.
planning for the release a month from now, basically, a little more than a month from now,
Right.
because I've got to figure out how much promotion and what kind of promotion I'm going to do, and get it, on mostly on iTunes also, so because
Yes.
people can stream it buy it that way.
Yes.
But whether it even makes sense to hire someone to focus and who that would be, and then by the time,
Right.
maybe it's something I can do myself,
Right.
because there's,
Well, here's the first question,
yeah,
and this is what I've learned over the years. The first, are you ready?
yes. What's the first thing you learned over the years?
Okay, the first thing is, what is your purpose in promoting? Because if you're, and I mean, I could give you examples, not only in my life, but other people. But if your purpose is to really get out there and tour, for instance,
Right.
that's a purpose that radio promotion would be good for, right?
If there were radio stations that played this.
Well, assuming there are, that
Okay.
that would be the reason
Right.
to do it,
Right.
because you have to have a reason, because otherwise you're just basically throwing money out there, believing people when they say, oh yeah, blah, whatever. And so you have to, is it just to alert the public to who you are? That you could do yourself, or you could hire somebody on a very light basis. You don't have to pay several $1,000s to get a real radio promoter. You could just, hire somebody like a social media person and have them spread it around, research and spread it around. The thing that I always preferred over radio promotion, because I'm not a person who's looking for big fame,
Yeah.
right? I do want to put it out, what my music is. And it's nice over the years to have promotion, and then, oh, here's another thing from Cathy Segal-Garcia. Okay, yeah, that's nice, but I'm probably hardly going to put something into a magazine unless it's through the label,
Yeah.
and it's connected with the label with other stuff, because it's just it's interesting. But reviews, like written reviews,
Right.
I think are even more worth it, because you can use those forever.
Because you don't have to put a date on them, sure.
Yeah, and they're out there.
True.
So that's the first thing I always spend money on, personally.
To pay to get a
reviewer.
review.
Yeah. So there's Holly Cooper, who's really, really good at that. And you should, I mean, if whoever you approach, whether it's Holly or somebody else, you give the project to them and ask them, do they have a line for this kind of music,
Right.
And like Holly definitely will tell you yes or no.
Okay.
And she will say no if
If it's
she
not.
doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. And she may have other suggestions too of other people she knows.
Well, my goal so much is not to be playing live all the time and go touring and do all that.
Yeah.
More than anything it is at least to be able to get it somewhat recognized on those stations,
Yes.
on those playlists of Spotify and Pandora. To have, I do plan to get it to various music supervisors and possibly use it as underscore or needle drop
Yes.
of that's a big chunk of, and whether I get, whatever happens with that, I don't know, but
Yeah.
at least that's part of it.
Yeah.
And at least this way shows more of my composition to different people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am at the moment.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that case, my personal point of view, and
Mhm.
you should ask a lot of people, I wouldn't do radio promotion.
Oh, well, and
Because
that's why
that's
it's not
not
the-
your purpose.
it's not my purpose.
Yeah, yeah. But I also might hire somebody to help do exactly what you
And
said.
that's, so I have to find someone that has some specialty ideas.
Yeah, or I use a company called Indeed, which is a very interesting platform that you can hire.
Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed.com. You can hire people to do exactly what you want. You can interview them. They're young.
Uh-huh.
Most of them are younger coming up, or some of them are older. Like I hired somebody to do a website for Kulak's Woodshed, and I interviewed probably 80, well, first of all, I looked at 80 people.
Yeah.
Then I cut down the interview to, maybe 20 people. And I ended up taking this one young
great.
man who was really great. And so, and then I have a social media person who does, because I just don't have time for everything.
That
So
maybe
they do Instagram and TikTok for me.
maybe that's someone I should talk to or something.
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
Anyway, I just, in case anyone is responding and having any ideas, I'm
Yeah.
looking.
But it's pretty cool. Hi,
Thank you.
Joyce. Yeah, I know in person. Angela Carol Brown.
Angela.
Hi. And other than that, I already mentioned the people
Okay.
who are on. And so, anyway, just to say, but Holly would be a good person to talk with also. But that's my advice. I mean, don't throw money for something that is not going
Doesn't
to
make
suit
sense.
your goal.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm in the process of figuring out.
Yeah. But you know what? If I were you too, I'd make a compilation, unless you have one already, of your arranging. And that I would do the same thing with that. I mean, not necessarily put it out on the airwaves, or I mean, that one might be more inclined to go out on the airwaves, but yeah, to show the same kind of people you're arranging jobs,
Sometimes when different people approach me, I'll send them to a certain direction, or I'll send them
Yeah.
specific things.
Yeah, yeah,
So I've done it that way.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. All of these things and more. I forget what the original conversation.
Well,
we strayed
Peppermint-
over here.
So I've been here since the 6th grade. It was somewhere around there. It started back then, and I don't play trumpet anymore.
That I know about you, and that you studied with some great arrangers, that's very impressive.
I was also very lucky I had an opportunity to be a staff arranger at the Merv Griffin show when I was very young, working with Ray Brown and Herb Ellis and Jack Sheldon recommended me
Get
to
out
Benny Goodman to
here.
write charge for Benny Goodman's return to Carnegie Hall in 79.
That's
78,
incredible.
78, 79. 78, I think.
Is that in your bio?
Somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go look at the
But
bio that I got because
My bio, I'm not sure. Yeah,
well, your bio's not on your website because you said you don't have.
You wrote a few things I didn't quite know where you got them from, but I do have a Wikipedia page. Maybe that's where you got
I
it.
think I might have gotten.
But you got something from somewhere else that I didn't quite understand, but
I cut and paste.
which is
Pasted, and I wonder if it was from the Wikipedia. Yeah, it was talking about the single angel baby.
right.
Which
That's the one that actually was the thing that Wikipedia gave me credibility because it
Maybe it
charted
was
with Billboard.
Wikipedia then. I go look for bios for people, and yeah.
Which is one reason why I have to clean up my web
Definitely,
world.
definitely. I always talk about that. You've arranged music for Smokey Robinson, Bette Midler, Chaka Khan, Anna Danes, Lainie Kazan.
Spoke to Lainie yesterday.
You did?
Yeah, so we're talking about doing something in the future.
You know, it's funny. She, at one moment in time, she was going to take some jazz lessons from me,
Okay.
but it was, gosh, it was a long time ago. Um, and that kind of just moved on. You've worked at Carnegie Hall.
Well, that actually, well, I have played at Carnegie Hall, but that's, and the Benny Goodman thing was also Carnegie Hall.
And the John F. Kennedy Center.
Mhm.
And yeah, yeah. Well, it was not a lot, but
Okay,
it
well,
was some, you know. And anyway, we did it. Hi, Mark. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Stan, for posting that. I'm gonna actually play this. I'm gonna play that one that we were that we were gonna play from you. That your solo.
Oh, I did a show with Marcia Bartonetti at Vibrato not too long ago, and she had a videotape crew there, and
And this is a
captured
very
my
nice
solo
solo.
of on "You Go to My Head."
Yeah.
There's Dory on guitar and Ken Wilde on.
And Joe LaBarbera.
No, that's Bob Leatherbarrow.
Oh, okay. It looks like Joe from here, but
Yeah.
but now that you say Leather Barrow, I can see it. Someone playing synth?
Yes, Stefan
Oh,
is who just moved. You know Stefan?
Stefan Oberhoff.
Yes,
I see.
he's moved to Nashville. He's
Steve Rollins.
Oh, right. That's his friend, right? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Marsha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was really beautiful.
Thank you. I'm glad they had a videotape going then.
Yeah, that was really quite beautiful. Um, yeah. Oh, thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's probably the same article. He's showing me to the
This is my
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia page.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it was the same. Yeah, that was really beautiful. And I remembered the conversation I wanted to go back to, which was
Yeah.
picking musicians to,
Oh.
how do you pick musicians and to work together? My first husband, when I was starting to work at the $2 Bills, do you remember that place in Hollywood on Franklin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sort of right near Brunson. And,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked there for 2 years every Tuesday with
Okay.
whoever I could get to come over for $5 in a meal.
That was money. That's when that $5 was money. Okay.
They had good mushroom soup. Anyway, but my husband was he was very insightful about certain things, and I was fretting about who to pull together, and he said it's not so much about the music, it's about personalities more.
That's big part of it.
Yeah.
But the overwhelming majority of people I've found, you don't stay in the business for long if you don't, on some level,
Yeah.
be agreeable and supportive and reliable. Some people are a little more outgoing, some people a little more talkative,
Yeah.
which we all have our own personalities, but the vast majority of people show up with a pretty good attitude.
Yeah.
So I haven't found a lot of issues with it. Obviously, there are some,
Yeah.
but
Well, I think it's also different, with a large group of people like a big band, than a small group.
sure.
Right.
And I did go on a 2-month tour
Uh-huh.
with Steve March Tremé about 10 years ago on a bus.
Oh, okay.
And with one of those Columbia artist things.
Yeah.
And we went across the country, and people, when you really get to know people, you know, it was an interesting
Interesting,
experience.
yeah, yeah.
You know, there was a little personality clash among a few people.
Yeah,
But it's, you know, when you're with the same people so long,
yeah,
and that's really like the only experience like that traveling that I've had with for such a long period of time.
yeah,
Most of the things I do traveling wise, I go as the music director, and I meet people in a new town,
yeah.
as
Which is
opposed to
different, yeah,
once in a while, you know, we go someplace that's remote where bring a rhythm section from LA or something, we all go together.
yeah,
But that, you know, you're only there for a couple days, and so everyone's usually once again, usually everyone gets along pretty well.
yeah, yeah. Me too. I don't know if I've ever traveled with more than one person, and but just the one person. You know, it's really interesting. It's because you're
You
thrust
get to know them in a
together.
different way. It's
Yeah.
not just show up, we'll see you tomorrow or something
Yeah,
like that. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Very interesting. I traveled a lot with a piano player who I recorded with in Japan,
oh yeah,
but an American guy, Philip Strange, and he and I were pretty good together. There was a little bit of strangeness that we had to go through
hmm,
to get to the other side, you know, and but we did.
right.
But we traveled for years together,
Oh, wow.
actually, and in very funny situations.
Okay,
You know,
sure.
we were like in Japan, especially. There'd be a Japanese guy driving us all through Japan, and we like one time I remember we had to when we got to the club. It was raining. We got to the club late, and we both had to change clothes upstairs in the attic of the club,
Sure.
and you know, like yeah, like we had to change
Mhm.
clothes together.
Oh,
So you know, I mean, you got to, you know,
It's what it is.
yeah, yeah. So
And driving on the other side of the road. Do you get used to that?
well, I never
as a
drove in
as a
Japan.
passenger,
Yeah,
it always kind of start, you know, when you're not used to it, and
Yeah.
you sit in the front seat,
yeah. It's
and the
unnerving.
driver's over there. It's just like after so many years of conditioning, but fun.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so but yeah, I mean, like you asked about Friday night. So Friday night, I had a gig at Catalina's with a beautiful group of musicians: Jimmy Branley, Ahmet Sezin,
Mhm.
Mitchell Long, and Carrie Frank. And those guys are friends anyway. All of them have played together a lot.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, Jimmy and Carrie and Mitch just finished recording, like literally this last week.
Right.
So, you know, they're real tight, and they're thinking along the same lines.
Sure.
Not to mention that they're incredibly supportive musicians. If I do something unusual, they like feed me,
Mhm.
you know, musically, and so I can keep moving through that. So I just had the greatest time.
Oh,
you know,
good.
It was really fun. So
Did you videotape?
I did not videotape. No.
I'm gonna go nuts and go with the option of videotape and probably fancy sound and
Yeah.
do. But
Yeah.
so that's my plan.
Yeah. Well, I am playing at Kulak's, and it's kind of
You told me
So-
about the videotape thing there.
yeah. In the end of this month, one of my records was with a Korean player who used to live here named Cho Yun Sung,
Mhm.
and then he went back to Korea. He's kind of like a chick style player,
Yeah.
and so he and I are making a record for Korea,
Oh, cool.
and it's going to be mostly the Great American Songbook.
Right.
And he's going to do some string arrangements for it too. So he's coming here to do a trio recording and then take it back to Korea.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to do a duo. I'm going to tell people this just as long as I'm talking
Sure.
about it. I'm going to do a duo on March 29th, he and I at Kulak's, which will be really fun because we just have fun as a duo. And then Friday, the following Friday, the 31st, we're going to have the band that will be recording,
Right.
you know, play together. So, which is Jimmy Branley and Ahmet Sezin.
Oh, cool.
Have you ever played with Ahmet?
No, I played with Jimmy before.
Ahmet's really good too.
Oh, wonderful.
You would love him. He's
Sure.
so musical and just has a beautiful touch, and is a really nice person.
So the what's the 31st? Where's that going to be?
That'll be a Kulak's, and that will have a.
Oh, you're
video
recording on the
of it.
29th.
We're actually recording on April 2nd at Dennis Dreeth's studio.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Have you been over there yet? The new one?
Not to the new one.
It's very,
Okay.
very
Well,
nice.
I bet.
Yeah, it's not huge, but it's
I remember he was moving from one place to another. or
yeah,
something.
yeah, it's very nice and has an excellent piano.
Great.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, so why did I bring that up? I don't know.
Well, it's let people know what you're doing.
It's all about me. But anyway, yeah, so but that's going to be really fun. And actually in the middle of that, well, I'll tell you this because
Mhm.
we talked about this. But I know you've played at Jazzville in Palm Springs.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that on March 30th.
Oh, fantastic.
So
March 30th.
I just
Oh,
am,
so they're back in the
yeah, and those are some of the gigs that I'm hoping that my knee operation will be like copacetic by that time, and my husband's going to be driving me around.
the weather's going to start getting warmer. I
Yeah,
hope.
that's true.
So that should all help.
Yeah,
And daylight savings time will kick in, and it'll start feeling like spring. And I'm sure everything with the procedure will go fine, and it'll be great. And if not, people will help you on stage. People will help you off stage. It'll all be fine.
There's one more thing. Like I actually asked the doctor, like, so I'm having my knee operation, and I'm gonna do archives for a little bit, but next Monday. So next Thursday at Kulak's, I booked a beautiful Brazilian guitar player named Roberto Monteiro, and
Okay.
he's bringing in a band with Mitch Foreman and a few other people, and I was absolutely dying to go in, but I asked the doctor. I said, "Do you think
A
I'll be
tad
able
too
to
soon?
go?" Yeah, the doctor said, "Let's put it this way: the first day or two, you won't feel any pain because of medication. The third and the fourth day, you're going to feel a lot of pain. So I don't think you'll be going anywhere." But then the 20th,
Yes.
which is not that far away,
In Monday.
that's like a week away. I just have to do this gig. There's a place downtown that's relatively new called the Oracle Tavern, and
Okay.
it's not downtown proper. It's on Spring Street, so it's outside of downtown. And but I have to go do this because this is my kind of outside band called The Moment. And what's fun about it is that Brad Dudes, who's a percussionist who moved
He's
up.
coming. He's in Seattle,
He's Washington. Yeah.
Washington.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's coming down for a few gigs.
Oh, nice.
So he's in my band The Moment, and so he's going to be there. And it's only an hour set, so I may just go for the hour and
Oh,
then leave.
It'll take longer than that just to get there.
Yeah. So that's March 20th.
Okay.
So that's this kind of avant-garde series put out by Daryl Tews called Vernacular. You can find that on Facebook. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go tonight because tonight, let me think who's all there. Well, Breeze Smith is there, the drummer, but who's there in the beginning? I'm going to check this out
Looking something up. Okay.
because I want to tell people about this. It's just such a let's see. Let me see if I can get on Facebook again.
Yeah.
You know, on a separate tab.
Well, I've worked with Brad Dudes on and off for years, and I know he recently moved up north.
That's right. Vernacular. And tonight it's going to be really good music. Oh, I know Ellen Burr, who's a wonderful flutist. So, so the first one is Ellen Burr, Anne LeBaron, Jeff Schwartz, and Charles Sharp. And then the second group, they have two groups on this series.
Oh, wow.
Tony Green and Breeze Smith and Scott Eustis. So it's quite nice. And yeah.
Like Spring, is it south of downtown, or whereabouts is it?
Let's see. Let me see if I
Used
can.
the music store Preman's used to be on Spring. That was like the big music.
1640 North Spring.
Maybe, oh, that's north of downtown.
Is it?
Well,
Here's Chinatown. It's near
oh.
Chinatown.
So that's further north. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really an interesting series. So yeah, so some of my whole thing went away. Did it go away? Oh, I see. Because I
undo that.
didn't, yeah.
You have a lot of buttons going on here.
I know. And here's Here I am,
nice.
so I think I'll get out of this one. Too many buttons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, thank you. Born to be Blue, Dan posted.
And that's Mel Torme.
Yeah, do you want to play that?
Oh, me playing it?
Are you playing or
Yeah, with Steve March Torme.
Yeah.
It could be that, but you could play
did you
that.
arrange
but,
it?
Yeah, it's just I did. You could play that, or you could play the thing with Michael and my daughter Marissa singing, and because the other Michael, it's got Mike Garson and
Yeah,
Mike Miller's going to be here tomorrow. You said,
yeah.
so you can hear him play guitar.
Okay, let's do that.
You don't see much of me in this. This is something I arranged and conducted for my friend Michael Tinholm, who lives nearby.
Okay.
And
So this is something that Steve arranged.
that's Michael. Okay, we did this at Paramount.
Okay, and there's Mike Miller, who's going to be my guest tomorrow.
So
He
say hi to
plays
Mike for me
guitar.
tomorrow.
I will.
He's got
Gary Novak,
mhm.
great drummer.
Two. One, two, one, two, three.
That's me. That's about all you see of me. You don't see me again.
At the makeup on his face, and they laughed at his long black hair and his animal grace. Boy in the bright blue jeans jumped onto the stage. A lady Stardust sang a song of Dr. Sanders' grave. That he was alright. The band was all together. Yes, he was alright, alright. The songs went on forever. It was awful night, really quiet out of sight. And the sun all night long. 10-foot towers emerged from shadows to watch this creature fell. And boys sit upon their chairs to make that point of view. That's not so sadly for love I could not obey. Lady Stardust sang a song of Dr. Sanders' slave. And man, he was alright.
Oh, there I am again. Dennis Moody was the engineer.
Oh, really?
Dennis.
Huh. By the way, you were in that picture too.
So, oh boy.
Yeah.
Those are, I think they re-edited the video.
This is Ginger.
Oh, that's
Like one?
refreshing. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, sounds great. nice. Really nice.
Cameron,
Tim Pinch.
Dennis Modine,
Yeah.
and there I am.
Da, 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 da. Very nice. That was great.
It was a fun project to work on.
Yeah, I like that. Really like that. That was really cool. Yeah. Yep. I dug it, man.
Well, I'm glad.
Roland loves it. Janet Blake loves it. Song title, Lady, is that
Lady Stardust. That's
Lady
a
Stardust?
David Bowie tune, and that's why he did it, because of Mike Garson and everything.
Oh, yeah. So Mike Garson wasn't on that though.
No, Mike Garson was playing piano, but Mike was also with David Bowie for years. It's a David Bowie song.
Wait, that wasn't Mike Garson that I saw, right?
Yes, it was.
That was Mike Garson? Wait a minute, I gotta go look at that again. I find it hard to believe that was I thought it was said Bill Steinway.
Well, Billy Steinway was playing Rhodes.
Oh,
Here's a CD of it that can give you. I think the names are on there. I don't even know. As for
wait,
evaluating.
I'm like really
Go
like,
play from the beginning.
wait, I just want to see.
Yes.
What was his name?
Featuring Mike Garson.
Michael, I have to go back
Michael
and look at
Tinholm.
that. And I kept thinking that guy looks kind of familiar, but
But you put on headphones and you can't recognize anyone.
I'm just looking and jumping ahead just to,
That's him.
he looks so different. I mean, that is really incredibly different. Wow. I mean, we all age. And it's not that he looks old, he just looks really different.
Well,
Wow, I never ever would have thought that was Mike Garson. Wow, it's wild, huh? Okay, I was thinking, oh man, that piano player's so good, and I thought it was Bill Steinway. But
Billy was playing Rhodes.
I see.
So I have two keyboards going there.
How interesting. Okay, so
And-
Mike Garson used to play with his $2 bills.
There you go.
That's why,
Well,
But
my
that
hair's
was
my hair's
long-
starting to turn gray. I know.
Let's see.
Really.
I'm telling you, wait a minute. That was in the early 80s.
It's recent.
Shit, that's like 40 years ago. So no wonder he looks different. But yeah, I mean, he was heavier and he was younger. So anyway, but he sounds great.
Sounds great. I'm some people call me in to write the charts. Some people come, sometimes I arrange, sometimes I conduct, sometimes I play piano.
Yeah.
Sometimes I play piano and have nothing to do with the writing.
Yeah.
It's always a little something different, which is fun.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get to work with my daughter Marissa, which is fun too.
So is your daughter a professional singer?
Yes.
Okay. I've heard a little bit of you telling stories about her, but I really don't remember. So tell us about her.
Well, I have two daughters, and they both sing very well. My younger daughter Victoria hasn't been focusing as much on singing lately, but in the past, but she might be lately. She's been working as a DJ and a podcast producer, and might go into music supervision. My older daughter Marissa has been singing on commercials since she was a very little girl on movie soundtracks, and was on the soundtrack of Apollo 13 with a big orchestra and everything.
Hmm.
And she's been a professional singer for many years, but she is also a teacher. So she's the choral director at Providence High School.
Where is that?
Burbank, right
Oh,
across the street from
yeah.
Disney.
Like near Providence Hospital.
All connected.
Oh. Really?
I
School and
think
high
so.
school? Interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
That's how the paperwork works.
Just trying to imagine that in my head. I don't recall seeing the school, but I definitely have
close
been
to
to
the
the
freeway.
hospital.
It's,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
it's-
So yeah, on that side of the hospital,
Mhm.
in between.
between, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So she's also going to perform. Now, what happened when she was about 19 years old,
Yeah.
recorded a couple tracks for her of Indian Summer and Night in Tunisia with Dave Carpenter and Bobby Leatherbarrow and Bobby Rodriguez, myself, that Andy Waterman was the engineer at Entourage.
Nice.
24 tracks.
Yeah.
And we made mixes, and that way she had something to show people that she could sing and everything.
Yeah.
Andy then bought his house out in
Yeah.
Chatsworth and was working from there.
Yep.
Then he decided to move to Nashville and sold the house
To Eric,
to Eric.
who I've worked over there.
A couple
Oh,
months
of course, we worked
a couple
over
of
there
months
next
ago,
to each
Eric
other.
told me, by the way, I came across some tapes,
Oh.
and some of them had your name on it, and it was in Merce's session, and the tapes were still in good shape. I had them transferred to Pro Tools, and going to have to go back in and re-record vocals on them. And
That's
re-release
so cool.
it. I mean, the fact that he said, yeah, they were, on the side in the bathroom and near the shower or something
Yeah.
like that. Found some 24 track tapes with my name on it. So
Isn't that cool?
yeah, I mean because
The probability of that is like, wow.
yeah, so that's pretty fantastic. So we're excited about that. She's been so busy. She also teaches at Pierce College, and she's going back to get her doctorate. She's very
Oh.
busy. So we'll find time in the near future and go in and record those tracks.
Cool. And Indian Summer is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
excited
hopefully,
about to hear
if
that.
you're I'd love to see you on the 19th of April.
Yes. Are you going to do it, that song? Or
Yeah.
no? You are?
That's a song my Mercer's going to sing.
Cool.
Hmm.
Well, I wrote it down.
Well,
I'm hoping to come.
I'll try and persuade you.
That's so cool. Yeah. Wow. What a great story.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of miraculous that
It
the
is.
tapes happen to show up. Like, it's more than 20 years. I lost track how many years it's been, but
Yeah.
it's more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, we were using tape, not Pro Tools.
Well, that's a long time ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, he's so good. This
Easy to work with.
this
Absolutely.
recording that
Well, I had Bud,
this recording that I recently released
right?
live in Japan. Yeah, I'm sure you guys know about this. So that one is this one was on DAT, and this was live recorded on
Right.
2 nights with that piano player I was telling
Sure.
you about,
Uh-huh.
and just a duo.
Right.
And so I brought it over to Eric. We downloaded
Was
it
able to
into,
transfer it.
yeah, and then he cleaned it up,
Yeah.
which is amazing. I
Absolutely.
mean, even though it is DAT, still it's
There's stuff.
yeah, it's amazing that what you can
Mhm.
do. Yeah. So I like Eric. I think he's got really
Wonderful
quality
attitude and
ears
wonderful,
yeah.
easy to work with. That we did Lorena's thing there also.
Yeah, right next to mine, I think, right?
Probably.
Yeah. And yeah, Eric's really good. I did my record Social Anthems there, and it was really good. It was with Josh Nelson and Anthony Wilson, Lorca Hart, and Edwin.
Great.
And it was just beautiful. It's a beautiful studio.
Very relaxed and easy to work with.
Yeah.
So
good
and
quality.
Andy really built the studio exactly how he wanted it.
Yeah.
Separation here and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
exactly, and then decided to move.
Yeah.
And he was going to have to tear the whole thing apart because most people that are looking to buy a house don't necessarily want a third of the house to be a studio.
Right.
So he was like planning that he was going to have to disassemble the whole thing, but he mentioned to Eric, and Eric made it work to buy it. So worked out
cool.
for everyone.
And they're right across from an elementary school, so his
Mhm.
kids can probably go there, I guess. I don't
I don't
remember
even
if
know.
they do.
That'd be too convenient. They probably do something else. It's probably. How we doing?
We
We've been
have-
talking. But
I know, we're fine. We only have about 10 more minutes.
oh, what else would
It's
you?
almost been 2 hours.
Wow.
It's amazing how fast the 2 hours goes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. What else would you like to know?
Well, I've gotten a little bit of your perspective on things. How do you think the music business is going right now? Do you think it's how do you see it as do you see it I have a feeling I know the answer to this already, but how do you see what's happening now and where it's going?
Well, there's always going to be people that want to hear live music. There's always going to be people that want to hear new music and record music. So, and there's going to be underscoring, and there's going to be television and movies. So there's always going to be some music. The business aspect of it kind of keeps changing,
Yeah.
both for the good and for the bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, whatever times we're in, we kind of swim with. When I was very young and got started, so much of the work was through the union,
Yeah.
which was wonderful.
Yeah, that really
And-
changed.
And you could pretty much any kind of job you did, and
Yeah.
most musicians aspired
Uh-huh.
to be in the union
Yes,
because
right.
they wanted to do recording. Now there's so many other musicians that only focus on playing clubs or playing private party events. You know, there's bands that specialize in everything,
Yeah.
and part-time musicians, and the right to work states has been kind of a drag.
Yeah.
And so it's that part of the business hopefully will maintain some strength, but it's a struggle.
Yeah.
And the same with copyrights and people reporting to the ASCAP and BMI surveys.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, right now, the vast majority of jazz stations are on college campuses. So if you were to compose the most popular jazz song that played 12 times a day on every jazz station in the country, you probably wouldn't see much money from ASCAP or BMI because they're nonprofits, and nonprofits don't pay ASCAP. But at the same time, years ago, if you weren't signed to a real record company, the point of pressing your own records, people did, but they barely sold any. You know, you would hope that maybe a major company would take you on. Otherwise, you know, you couldn't get your music in Tower
Yeah.
Records. You get it played on the radio. Or
Right.
so now, many people can have the availability of doing their own projects and finding an audience, and so that's something that's fantastic. There's all you can do is kind of like figure out where you are at the time and keep going.
Yeah.
It's the best you can do,
Yeah.
and try and get everything under a union contract you can. And it's a
Well,
struggle.
Yeah, and that's the concept of recording an album. Yeah, it's like we were talking about before. What's the purpose?
Hmm.
You know, like I have my latest project that I'm pulling together is a no net project, right? Written, arranged by John Leftwich.
Hmm.
And so we have a mishmash of material like Schofield tunes and Thelonious Monk and some standards and some originals. And the arranging is, I think, really kind of eclectic and modern.
Okay.
And so we're kind of expecting that the demographic who might be drawn to it is actually more young people, you know.
Right.
And so I'm working on a grant that could actually bring that on the road just a little bit, you know, for a week or so.
Right.
And but you know, making the project, I mean, for us for this project, I would like to bring this project on the road. I would like to take it and go to whatever music centers, you know, nearby. I don't have to bring it to like East Oshkosh, but you know what I mean? And
Well-
and so that's my purpose for this project.
How big a group?
9.
That's a lot of people.
I know. That's why I say I'm not, unless we got some kind of a festival, you know, I can't imagine going too far unless you do a pickup band, you know, John and I, and maybe a piano player, you know, or
Depends
some-
on,
you know what I mean?
depends whether the music will be adaptable for
Yeah.
how involved a rehearsal would be and
Exactly. Yeah. And
all that.
it's not super easy charts, you know.
Hmm.
I shouldn't even say that. It's not easy charts.
Right. Well,
But it's not, I mean, good players could play the music, but
right.
like if you were bringing it, for instance, to a college for them to experience playing, you know,
But in order
It'd
for
be hard.
an out-of-town audience to know, in order to draw an out-of-town audience, there has to be enough recognizability about who they are
Marketing.
and marketing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, possibly trying to find something in Santa Barbara and something in Palm Springs and
Yeah.
San Diego and kind of like work
Bring the people.
this neighborhood
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the grand scheme of the circle, you know, something like that.
And for that matter, like, let's just say you went around the New York area, not in the city, but, around. I mean, it's not like there's no good players over there, who are known.
So
to-
once you figure out something like that, yeah, well,
Yeah,
good luck with
it's
it.
like a
That's okay.
long project,
Well,
which is fine,
sure.
because it's basically
Once you
in the
want-
doing,
There's no way of knowing whether it's going to work until you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still looking at each other. Everyone's like seeing
It's okay.
our side, the side of our face. Well, yeah, when you invited me, and thank you again for inviting me.
Sure.
I was thinking, well, yeah, we could do it at home with the Zoom and the headphones and all this stuff. But I
Yeah.
said, get on the freeway, come out for a few minutes, and why not do it in person? But of course, everyone that you're doing with the Zoom, you're looking right at them. So this way, I've realized a good chunk of what we were just kind of.
Yeah, you're probably seeing about that much in my face. It doesn't matter
well,
because it's the conversation,
Oh,
and
This
Right?
This worked out nicely. I could hand you something, and you could look at something. Yeah, this was great.
Oh, and look, Marcia Graham Bartnetti is
Hey, Marcia.
Hi, Marcia. And Diane Elder. Hi, love this interview. Lots of great info and history. And Dan has put a website up for
Oh, my daughter.
Your daughter.
She has a
Which that
website.
would be interesting. You have a lot of. It looks fine, you guys. Thank you. And so I think I'm going to just share this for a minute.
Okay.
This is
See what my kid's done lately.
yeah. So there she is, pretty
daughter.
girl, and this talks all about her education, her awards. Her
She won a Barbara Morrison.
affiliations. Oh,
When she was in high school, she won the Barbara Morrison scholarship thing.
cool. Oh, wow. She's running a big choir.
Oh yeah, they do these
That's
big
huge.
festivals, and she conducted at Carnegie Hall last year. So I brought my grandson, and we went to New York and made a whole thing out of it.
That's
Special memories
that's
for
a
all of
very
us.
large choir too.
Mhm.
Does that it's always that large?
It's like 40, 49, 50s, something like that.
I think this looks more.
Well, that might
more
be
like
that might be a
100.
different one.
Yeah.
But she had,
And then lessons. She gives voice lessons, which is great, especially if you're a person wanting to get into studio stuff, right? And a little bit of her.
her character voices.
Me too,
Together we're meant to be.
it's true,
Can't you see
I do.
that it's elementary?
Oh, this is
Oh,
cool.
that's-
So
she
you
does a-
can you can just like
Like what I should
do
do. So-
everything.
so her characters, her serious, her classical. She's got like everything defined, like I could do.
yeah,
But I haven't.
jazz stuff. She has a nice website.
Somewhere there's music, I'll feel the tune. Somewhere there's heaven, how high the moon. There is no moon above when love is far away too.
She's got a good
Till
feeling.
it comes true that you love me as I love you. Somewhere there's heaven, it's where you are.
Very musical.
Somewhere there is music, how near, how far.
Yeah, nice. And soul, commercial. Yeah.
Both my daughters and my ex-wife would be driving down the street, singing along with the high-lows.
Yeah. And some testimonials of people who have used her, a gallery
Okay,
with all these wonderful people on here.
there's Pierre.
Where? Oh, yeah. Right there. See that? Ta-da! Speaking of Pierre Chambers. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And all these different wonderful fun things she's done. Look at that.
That's my kid. Oh, what's I can't think of her name. Miranda. Are you familiar with Miranda?
I'm not.
Miranda, it's called Miranda Sings. She is sort of the modern day equivalent of Jonathan and Darlene Edwards.
Oh, you're kidding.
and she's got a huge following, and people dress like her.
Oh, I
I
have to
first-
write that down.
You'll like her.
Miranda Edwards?
No, her name is I think she goes by Miranda Sings or just
Oh.
Miranda. And you start looking in
Miranda
YouTube.
Sings. Okay.
I first saw her at the Caruso Jet Party in New York like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And she comes out and like puts lipstick all crooked, and she's doing a modern day Darlene Edwards.
Oh my God. Yeah, we definitely have to check
And,
that out.
and then she came out here and did a small venue that I brought Marissa to see.
Oh,
And then like 5 or 10 years later, she was at the Thousand Oaks Performing Arts Center
yeah.
and sold the place out. And there's like tons and tons of kids showing up with their parents in the station wagons, all dressed like her. It's like, I don't know what she's done lately.
Wow.
I mean, it's,
I've never heard of her,
well,
but
you-
that
you-
doesn't
you-
mean
you can't-
anything
you
really.
just can't keep track of everybody.
That's hysterical. You know, I mean, I don't hate to say this, but I fell into a characters thing with Tiffany Bailey. Tiffany
Yeah.
and I, for a year or something, we made this
Uh-oh.
Misty and Cassie, and we dressed up, and you can find it on Facebook. We have a channel there, Misty and Cassie, and we dressed up like, you know, overdoing, you know, makeup and jewelry and stuff. And we ended up talking like some New York, you know, hey, you know, what are you doing? I don't know, you know, and we had some really funny things happen, and we never really planned. We, you know, would plan what we
It
might be
evolved,
talking about,
yeah.
you know, but it's pretty funny.
And those who don't know, Jonathan and Darlene Edwards was Paul Weston and Joe Stafford.
That is correct. So
And
Tim
they made
Weston,
Tim
Tim
Weston's
Weston's
dad,
family,
yeah.
and they were serious musicians. Paul
Very
Weston.
accomplished musicians,
Yes.
but they made these names under the alias where he would play wrong notes, play wrong chords, add
Added-
beats, and she would be able to sing
half
a
of-
little sharp,
Yeah.
a little flat, or not count, and it was, but in a funny way. It's just you know, the same way that, you know, at a ice capades or something, the clowns are like really the fantastic skaters. 'Cause
Yeah.
in order to do what they
That's
do,
tough.
you have to be very accomplished, or you'll hurt yourself.
My favorite of hers was like the Bee Gees.
Those were good.
Oh my God.
The karaoke was good.
You have to check that out. It's too funny. And I think they even sell a whole CD of, you know,
Oh,
online.
they made a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But Tim,
Yeah.
it was fun I had Tim on the show. That was fun to talk about. Of course, you're going to talk about that stuff, right?
Well, yeah. How can you not? At least for a
Yeah.
minute, you know.
Well, and here in LA, there's a number of people with parents who were smack dab in the middle. Do you know Gary Bavona?
Of course, I've recorded at his place before.
Oh,
Did
you
some
know-
of CBS or NBC promos or something there.
and his dad was
Was it
Gus
Gus? Oh,
Bavona,
sure.
who was the alto player in Hollywood. You know, at that whole
And beautiful clarinet sound. He was on all the Steve Allen stuff and everything.
yeah.
Sure.
So he has stories. I almost actually wrote a show for him because I was so fascinated with his
Wow.
life. And there's been other people that there's a drummer, yeah, Bill. I can't remember right now, but there's a drummer who now lives on the East Coast. But he grew up in Toluca Lake.
Right.
His father was a lawyer for like, wait, lawyer, was that the guy? No, he was a radio guy
Mm-hmm.
who all the stars knew and would be on his show and stuff.
Sure.
So this guy would like Bill Goodwin. That's his name.
The Goodwin Todman?
Say what?
The game show people? Goodwin Todman?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So
Goodwin, sorry.
Bill grew up in Toluca Lake, and he would just like, you know, go into Bob Hope's house for like to visit, you know, have
Sure.
a cup of hot chocolate, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, so there are people around who are from the lineage, like the really wonderful lineage that you could talk to, and
They have personal stories about going to the ball
Yeah,
game or going to
yeah.
the bar mitzvahs or, you know, whatever. Sure.
yeah, amazing. I know Gregory Peck's son.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Gregory Peck.
Well, when,
Pretty exciting.
at University High School where I went, where John Magruder was the teacher,
Yeah.
the big band singer was Lorna Luft. I wrote early arrangements for her
Wow,
when she was the band.
really?
I wrote a chart for her on Didn't We when Didn't We was a new song.
Wow.
Hmm.
So do you still have any representations of your earlier stuff?
Very, very little.
Yeah.
I had some things on 7.5 tape.
Oh, really?
But the tapes aren't around anymore, and some
Yeah.
cassettes. Some things I've had transferred through the
Yeah,
years, but
yeah. I mean,
I don't have tons.
it's just fun,
Oh, sure.
you know.
Well, and that's kind of, for the sake of my daughters and my grandchildren and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
That's kind of why, that's one of the other motivations between the CD and also the show coming up with Catalina's.
Yeah, yeah.
So at least they have some history of,
Yeah. Of you.
music. Yeah, and some music that the family,
Yeah,
would see
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then incorporating my daughter and my ex-wife and everything. And my daughter Victoria and son-in-law Kieran did the graphics on my CD.
Oh, very
And
nice.
And photographer Gabriella Mouton did all the photos. Anyway, so
Yeah.
one last time, that's me.
And yeah, here, I'll get it a
Okay.
little closer. And so celebrating this CD, Steve's going to be at Catalina's with a great band, his daughter, and several guest artists, including Steve March Torme,
Mark Winkler.
Mark Winkler, and Mary.
Actually, Mary's not playing, not only having certain other co-writers perform. So
Okay, but you're going to be in the audience,
I
right,
hope
Mary?
so. Hi, Mary.
And so
But yeah, this will be available technically in about a month. So
Okay.
you have an early copy here.
yeah, and April
April
9th,
19th.
19th at Catalina's. It's a Wednesday night. Cool. Thank you, Steve. So we're going to sign off here. And tomorrow I have
Mike Miller.
Mike Miller, who Steve's worked with. And Mike Miller is a guitarist who is incredibly versatile and has played with many different big names, including small names. But I mean, he's really a working musician who's done a lot of different things. Wonderful player, really sweet guy. So I'm really looking forward. He's an old friend from the old days. And then Wednesday, I have a soul and blues singer who I met several years back named Pepper Mache, who also goes by Sista Jean.
Oh.
And she's a wonderful singer.
Right.
And really great, and she's coming out with a new project too. So I've been wanting to have her on. Then after that, we'll have some archives like Brian Schwartz, the trumpet player, Michael Mason, flutist, Nick Anderson, the singer from up north, Jeremy Siskin, great piano player. We're gonna have a few more archives because I'm having knee surgery. John Leftwich, great bass player and arranger, and Mark Christian Miller too. We're gonna do on Tuesday. So and then if you're in the LA area, please do come and support this new jazz series. It's very local. It's very inexpensive. It's a wonderful experience. It's at Kulak's Woodshed, which is in North Hollywood on Laurel Canyon near Magnolia. It's the cover ranges this week. Thursday night from 8 to 10 are the shows normally. We're going to have new music, which is it's not exactly avant-garde. There is music written, but the playing is very improvisational. And the king of it in this town is Vinny Golia. And not just in this town, but he's multi-woodwindist, and he's a teacher at Cal Arts. So he's leading a quintet Thursday night, 8 to 10, $15 to come in.
Yeah.
There is no minimum because Kulak's does not sell proper food and drink. We just have some snacks in the back, which you give $1 donation for, or whatever. And and being in Kulak's is super comfortable. It's like going into a secondhand store almost and just sitting down in a chair. and because they're videoing, it's like being on a TV set. Like you're on a TV show and watching. You have to be quiet. They do a countdown. It's really interesting. Very nice. The sound is really good. And then Friday night this week, we're having an open house. This is This is just, again, the jazz series at Kulak's. Kulak's has been here for 23 years, and they've been supportive of singer-songwriters and, I mean, Jackson Brown played there a bunch. I mean, all kinds of people have played there over the years. So now,
Is it on the east side of the
Yes,
street?
yes, just
It
about
kind
a
of
block
there's some
up.
red.
Yes, yeah.
I did something there once.
See?
Oh, I forgot what it was called. I guess that's what it was called.
Yes, probably in the last 23 years.
All right. It's all coming back to me.
That's what people generally say, actually. Wait, I think I worked there. I did too. Well, like once, I think. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm just giving it a shot in the arm for jazz. So, but you can go on kulakswoodshed.com and see what's there every Monday. If you're interested, you can go sit in. It's an open mic, especially for singer-songwriters, but it doesn't, the genre is not specified. Yeah, so Friday night we're having an open house, no cover, some food, and it'll be Atmara Ruiz on piano and Ahmet Sezen on bass and Anna Barrerio on drums. Great music. We'll schmooze, we'll play, we'll schmooze, we'll play. You know, it'll be really fun, and you can see what Kulak's is like, and it's really cool. So that is this week.
Wow. Well,
Pretty cool, right?
You're a busy person.
Steve,
Well,
thank you for coming over.
Well, thanks so much for having me in person.
Yeah, and it's really nice to hear all the information that we talked about today. You know, get your history and your point of view,
Now
and
you know a little bit more about,
yeah,
and vice versa. We know more about each other.
yeah. And I look forward to April 19th. I'm going to enjoy that a lot, I'm sure.
Love to have you there. That'd be great.
Yeah. Did you say there's no horn players, right?
Bob Shepard.
Oh, Bob Shepard. He couldn't get anybody good. Actually, Bob Shepard and Maria are going to play in April at Kulak's.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we almost had them in March, but weather and various things like that.
Their stuff.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. See you tomorrow. Thanks for being here.